Fed Up Warrior here. This is gonna be another video for the Fed Up Warrior history, okay? We're gonna talk about JP Morgan and a particular scam that he may be involved in. Now, we're not gonna focus so much on JP Morgan. Down the road, I will do a full Fed Up Warrior history video about JP Morgan himself. This very instance that I'm about to talk about tonight does involve him, however. What we are going to talk about is a certain Star Line cruise line that he had owned. And there is a plethora of information that's now out there about what I'm about to reveal. I'm going to talk to you about 2 ships that he may have owned and why things happened the way it did, and why, most importantly, how there was a switch. You're about to find out, folks. I'm going to talk to you about an organization known as the White Star Line. Why is this very important? You need to understand what kind of a situation we're dealing with here, okay? And how JP Morgan is connected to all this, because it is very important to put the pieces together every single way possible. According to this Wikipedia here, this is going to be the first place we're going to start. Morgan was scheduled to travel on the ill-fated maiden voyage of the RMS Titanic. He actually had a ticket on the Titanic, but canceled at the last minute, choosing to remain at the resort at the Les-Bains, France. The White Star Line, which operated Titanic, was part of Morgan's International Mercantile Marine Company, and Morgan was to have his own private suite and promenade deck on the ship. In response to the sinking of the Titanic, Morgan purposely said, "Monetary losses amount to nothing in life. Loss of life that counts. It is that frightful death." I want you to remember that, folks, because what I'm about to show you next is going to be a hypocrisy of what he quoted. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the RMS Olympic, okay? And there are some things you need to understand. Back on September the 20th, 1911, major mishap, I should say, occurred when she collided with the British cruiser HMS Hawke. The collision took place as Olympic and Hawke were running parallel with each other all through the Solent. As Olympic turned to starboard, the wide radius of her turn took the commander of the Hawke by surprise, and he was able to take sufficient avoiding action. I want you to focus on this down here. It happened on the left side of the of the ship. This is very important, okay? What goes into details about the fact when White Star Lines tried to file a claim, an insurance claim for the wreck, they didn't get it. Keep that in mind as I go through further. It also points out how the Royal Navy blamed the Olympic for the incident, alleging that her large displacement generated a suction. There was a subsequent inquiry that the Royal Navy blamed the Olympic for the incident, alleging that her large displacement generated a suction that pulled Hawke into her side. The Hawke incident was a financial disaster for the Olympic operator. A legal argument ensued, which decided that the blame for the incident lay on the Olympic. That's what we know. What I'm about to show you is what you don't know. Check out the bottom images. One is the Olympic and one is the Titanic. What if I was to tell you that because Mr. I value life more than money decided to pull a switch? What I'm referring to is the fact that what if these 2 ships were switched as part of a scam? You heard me right, an insurance scam. Now I'm about to add some factors to this that may validate the claim. You're going to see some similarities right here between the 2 ships. That is the first feature. They made some modifications to make one look like the other. It is very important for this to happen, because in all actuality, what if I was to tell you the Titanic, the real Titanic, never set sail in 1912? Also, there's some other features you need to consider. Now, the image on the right is the gentleman who played the captain of the Titanic from the Titanic movie. The image on the left is the real-life captain. The movie may have put out some fictional information, but it did put out some real-life information. This captain was headstrong about using the Titanic to break some speed records. That's a little bit disturbing. He was also briefed about icebergs. That also was a red flag. It did not stop him. He wanted to get there as quickly as possible, making this so-called Titanic an unsinkable ship that could get there quickly. That was the first red flag. The second red flag was the designer. Instead of being the real man of his creation and actually allowing people to get on the rescue ships, he chose to play the coward card and get on one of those ships. That's another observating fact that the Titanic movie got correct. He was so much of a coward, he was willing to even leave the ship that he designed. What a terrible man. Now, according to the Business Insider, they claim that it's a crazy conspiracy theory that the Rothschilds sank the Titanic to set up the Federal Reserve. Here in just a second, I'm about to show you how it may not be so damn crazy after all. Benjamin Guggenheim, Isa Strauss, Jacob Astor, they were some of the richest men that boarded the Titanic. But they had a common credo. They were not only millionaires, they also had the ability to lobby to prevent something major from happening. If they lived today, these men would be worth $11 billion. All three of these men were aboard the Titanic. Oh, I forgot the most important part. Did I mention they all three also opposed the Federal Reserve? Now do you understand why J.P. Morgan canceled his reservation? Now do you understand why the captain was reckless? Now do you understand why the designer was a coward? Now do you understand why these three men died? Because consequently, over a year and a half after the Titanic sinks and Woodrow Wilson is voted into office, that very operation gets enacted. You see, folks, things don't happen by accident. And down the road, I'm about to give you a reason how not only does this Titanic ordeal play into it, but there were more players into ensuring the Federal Reserve gets enacted. You have to understand that. You can like, dislike, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. I'd greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel. It's a brand new channel. And hopefully you get a better perspective now why it's important. The Federal Reserve needs to be brought down. And down the road, we will do a video about the Federal Reserve, its history, and why it's important that this organization needs to be abolished. Take care, folks.